Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness can spark the biggest changes in life. This is a story about a restaurant owner who thought she was offering just one night of shelter to a homeless grandfather and his little granddaughter. She had no idea that her simple decision would open the door to a future she never imagined. The town of Brooksville wasn't big, but on winter nights it felt like the coldest place on earth. The streets emptied quickly after dark, except for the occasional delivery truck or stray dog wandering by the lampposts. Rain had been falling for hours, a slow, relentless drizzle that soaked through jackets and made the air smell of damp leaves and gasoline. Stay with me until the end. You won't believe how it all unfolded. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Inside Lena's kitchen, the glow of hanging lanterns cast a golden warmth across the tables. Lena Marshall, the 36-year-old owner, was wiping down the counters, her auburn hair tied back and her apron speckled with flour. She was tired but satisfied. Business had been steady, and she was looking forward to locking up and going home. The bell above the door jingled, startling her. She turned and saw them, an elderly man with slumped shoulders and a gray beard, holding the hand of a little girl. The girl's hair was tangled, her coat too thin for the weather. Both were dripping wet. "Excuse me," the man began, his voice raspy, as if he hadn't spoken much that day. "We don't want to bother you. We just need somewhere warm to sit, just for a bit." Lena froze for a moment. She had a policy about closing time, no loiterers, no exceptions. But then she looked at the girl. Her wide brown eyes held a mixture of exhaustion and hope, the kind of eyes that begged without words. Something tugged at Lena's heart. She sighed softly. "Come in. Sit down by the heater." The man's shoulders sagged with relief. "Thank you, ma'am." As they settled at a corner table, Lena walked back to the kitchen. She ladled hot chicken noodle soup into bowls, sliced a few rolls of bread, and placed the food in front of them. The girl's eyes lit up. "Go ahead," Lena said gently. The little girl leaned forward, breathing in the steam. "It smells so good," she whispered. She picked up the spoon with shaking hands. The man closed his eyes, murmuring, "Bless you." Lena pretended to busy herself with cleaning, but she couldn't stop glancing over. Something told her this was more than just a chance encounter. The restaurant had grown quiet, the rain tapping steadily on the windows. The man and girl ate slowly, as if afraid the food would vanish. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Lena asked, crouching down near the table. The girl swallowed a spoonful of soup before answering. "Emily." Her voice was timid, but there was a spark of sweetness in it. "And this is my grandpa," she added, nudging the man's arm. "Walter," he said, offering a small smile. "I used to work construction, before I got injured. Since then, well, things haven't been easy." Lena nodded, her chest tightening. She knew what it meant to struggle. She had once lived paycheck to paycheck herself, saving every dime to open this very restaurant. "You don't have to explain," Lena said. "Eat. Rest." Emily clutched her teddy bear between bites, as though afraid someone might take it from her. When the soup bowls were empty, Walter began to rise. "We'll be on our way," he said. "We don't want to trouble you more than we have." But before he could stand fully, Lena spoke. "It's too cold outside. Stay here tonight. I have a small cot in the storage room. It's not much, but it's warm and safe." Walter stared at her in disbelief. "Are you sure?" Emily's eyes widened. Really? We can stay. Lena nodded, surprising herself with the firmness in her voice. Yes. Just one night. Emily leapt from her chair and hugged her tightly. Lena felt the small arms around her waist, and her heart ached in a way she hadn't expected. That was the moment the line blurred, the line between business and compassion, between stranger and family. The next morning, Lena found Walter already awake, folding the blanket neatly on the cot. He moved stiffly, grimacing as he straightened his back. Emily was sitting cross-legged on the floor, drawing little flowers and houses on a napkin with a dull pencil she carried in her pocket. "Morning," Lena greeted softly. Walter looked embarrassed. "We didn't mean to overstay. We'll leave after breakfast." Lena waved a hand. "Nonsense. Sit. I'll make pancakes." Emily's eyes lit up again, and Lena smiled despite herself. As they ate, Emily chatted freely. She talked about missing school, about loving to draw, about how her grandpa told her bedtime stories every night. Her innocence contrasted with the rough edges of her life. Walter remained quiet until Lena asked, "Do you have somewhere to go?" He hesitated. "Shelters are crowded. We usually manage with what little we have." "Do you have family?" she pressed gently. Walter shook his head. "Not anymore." The silence that followed was heavy. Lena thought of her own parents, gone now, but they had loved her fiercely. She couldn't imagine growing up without them. Later, when Walter insisted on helping around the restaurant, Lena noticed his limp. He struggled with crates but never complained. She watched him sweep the floor with quiet dignity, and something shifted in her. These weren't just homeless people. They were human beings, carrying stories, pain, and dreams. In a small town, nothing stays a secret for long. Within days, word spread that Lena had taken in a homeless man and his granddaughter. Some customers praised her kindness. "It's good to see compassion," one elderly woman said, patting Lena's hand. Others frowned. "You'll ruin your reputation," a businessman scoffed. "People don't want to eat where vagrants hang around." Lena brushed it off. But inside, she wondered, was she making a mistake? Meanwhile, Walter began doing odd jobs in exchange for their keep. Emily started helping wipe down tables after finishing worksheets given by the community center volunteers. Slowly, their presence became part of the restaurant's rhythm. One evening, Lena noticed something remarkable. Emily was serving bread baskets to customers, her laughter filling the room. People responded warmly, smiling back. Even the grumpiest regulars seemed to soften. The atmosphere changed. The restaurant felt warmer, more alive. Business didn't suffer, it improved. Still, whispers lingered outside those walls. But Lena had stopped caring. She was starting to realize that her life was changing too, not just theirs. One bitter night, while unloading supplies, Walter suddenly collapsed. "Walter!" Lena screamed, rushing to his side. Emily cried, clutching his arm. At the hospital, Lena paced the waiting room, her hands trembling. Emily curled beside her, silent except for soft sniffles. The doctor emerged. "Walter's injury has worsened. Years without treatment have taken a toll. He'll need surgery, or his condition will continue to decline." Walter tried to downplay it. "I'll manage," he muttered weakly. "Just promise me you'll look after Emily." Lena's throat tightened. She wanted to protest, but Emily's terrified eyes stopped her. "Don't worry," Lena whispered. "You're not alone anymore." The days that followed were hard. Medical bills loomed. The restaurant demanded her attention. Yet every time Lena saw Emily draw quietly in the corner or heard Walter thank her for even the smallest gesture, she knew there was no going back. She had taken them in for one night, but her heart wouldn't let her let them go. Weeks later, the bell above the restaurant door chimed. A man in a tailored suit entered. He carried himself with quiet authority. "I'm looking for Walter," he said. Lena's guard went up. "Why?" The man smiled. "My name is Richard Cole. Years ago, on a construction site, a man saved my life when scaffolding collapsed. I've searched for him ever since. I believe that man is Walter." Walter, sitting at a corner table, looked up in shock. "Richard!" The two men embraced. Richard explained how Walter had pulled him to safety and disappeared before he could offer thanks. "You saved my life," Richard said firmly. "Now I want to save yours. I'll cover your medical expenses, and I'll make sure Emily has the future she deserves." Lena gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. Emily's eyes shone like stars. Sometimes, kindness circles back in ways no one can predict. Months later, Walter's surgery was a success. He walked with less pain, his face brighter. Emily returned to school, thriving with the support of her new extended family. Lena's kitchen was no longer just a restaurant. It had become a symbol of community and compassion. Richard's donations allowed renovations, and more space meant more people, customers, volunteers, and those in need. At the reopening celebration, Lena stood before a packed room. Walter and Emily were by her side. "This place isn't only about food," she said. "It's about family, about second chances, about never underestimating the power of kindness." The crowd erupted in applause. Emily squeezed her hand, whispering, "You're our angel." Tears filled Lena's eyes. She had thought she was rescuing them that night. But in truth, they had rescued her too, teaching her that life's greatest treasures aren't found in profits or success, but in the bonds we create. The rainy night that started it all had led them here, to love, to healing, to a new beginning. And that's how one rainy night transformed a restaurant owner's life. A single choice to open her door set off a chain reaction of kindness, healing, and miracles. Walter found hope. Emily found safety. Lena found a family she never expected. And Richard reminded them all that gratitude has a way of finding its way back, even years later. So, what do you think? Would you have done what Lena did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. And remember, even the smallest act of kindness can change a life, including your own.